At the start of the movie, we see 4 kids named Sai, Noi, Jerd, and Tet. 4 kids are on their way to the woods. In the middle of the jungle, they stop at a house. A well-known story said that the house was haunted by a soul, and the person who comes here at night dies. Jerd makes fun of it when he hears it. Then they play a game called hide and seek. Then Sai and Noi go into the same house and hide. In that house, Sai sees a box. She looks inside and finds nothing. On Sai's back, though, we see the shadow of a head. After a long time, the same girl, Sai, who has grown up, is shown again. At that time, Sai is asleep on his bed. When she wakes up, she sees blood on the bed. She starts to clean it up. Sai works as a dermatologist for a living. She is on her way to the hospital. Then she meets Jerd, the man he loves. He follows her until he gets to her hospital. Jerd tells her he loves her and tries to make her feel better. No one else is in the hospital at that time, so he asks Sai to come with him. In the meantime, a woman gets there with her hurt child. Sai takes care of him right away. This woman tells Sai that Krasue has hurt the hens of her neighbors. The husband of that woman tells Sai and Jerd that some villagers had seen Krasue. Krasue is a ghost spirit that comes out at night to hurt people and animals who are out at night. This woman tells them to close their doors and windows to stay safe from Krasue. As they leave, Sai tells Jerd that she will miss Noi, and Noi is the same kid who went to that house that night with Sai. Sai says she doesn't even know. Where is it? He will do what? When Sai is dining with her grandparents at night, she comes to know that her father is going to guard against Krasue tonight. Coming there, Sai's friend talks about Jerd and her marriage to him, but Sai ignores such conversation. When Sai goes to bed at night to rest, she dreams about Krasue and the house in the forest. When she wakes up in the morning, the bloody bed is still there, and there were more than ever. Every window was open, and Sai's body was hurt. When Sai thought about it, he became worried. When it's time for Sai to leave the hospital, she asks Jerd to go with her to that house in the woods. When they move into that house, they see their old friend Noi. There is also a big group of Noi, who are Krasue's hunters and scare the villagers by telling them stories about Krasue. They say that Krasue hurts the hens first. When they are done with the chickens, they move on to the cows, buffalo, and goats. Then they look for people to eat to stop being hungry. The dead Krasue's head is with the leader of the Krasue hunters. He tells the villagers that Krasue's spit is also in the water, and if a girl drinks it, she changes into Krasue, and in the boy's case, his whole body is starting to hurt. This terrible pain kills him. When the villagers heard his story, they were so scared that they let him stay in the village. Sai takes care of everything during Noi's stay in the hospital, while Jerd and his friend help Noi with some of his secondary needs, like clothes. They also help Noi with some of his primary needs. Sai, on the other hand, felt strange. She tells Jerd that she wants to go by herself. She walks alone, she says. When she wakes up the next morning, she again sees blood on her bed, and she also throws up blood. And Sai knows that the buffalo's head has been eaten. Everyone knew that Krasue was the one to suspect. Then Noi tells Sai that Jerd has joined those groups of hunters. He tells Jerd, they are bad people. Don't put them together. Jerd doesn't care about what Noi says, though. He goes on to say, I joined this gang to protect the peasants. Jerd stops by to see Sai before going out with the Krasue hunters at night. He tells her to close the windows and doors. After he says it, he leaves. Then Sai starts to feel uncomfortable and in a lot of pain. At first glance, Sai looks just like Krasue. Here, the fact that Sai was really Krasue comes to light. Her dreams every night were not just dreams. They were based on real things. At the same time, Sai's friend's son was getting ready, and she moves to that Krasue. Krasue is Sai and is then seen flying through the air, and the hunters begin shooting at her. Then Jerd brings back that woman's son. Noi watches Krasue when she is on her way back. Noi follows her and sees that she has gone into Sai's room. When he looks through the now, he is shocked to see that Sai is actually Krasue. He is scared. The next morning, when Sai gets to the hospital, she is sad to see Noi there. Noi knew the truth about Sai, so she ran away in fear. Sai is currently in trouble and needs help. On the other hand, her best friend leaves her. When Noi was walking into a shrine, he passed out from fear. He asks the monk how Krasue is doing. he says that this ghost has lived with people for a long time and is safe. And these ghosts are not spirits from another world, instead, they are people who cast spells using black magic, and their fake way of making magic has made them into ghosts. Because of this, girls turn into Krause and boys turn into Crane. Noi tells him that Krause is my best friend. Monk tells him, don't make any decisions based on how you feel. You should make up your mind. Noi brings Sai a lot of dead hens. At night, when she changes into Krause, she stays inside and eats those chickens. The next morning, when Sai gets to the hospital, she finds Noi there. She's glad he's there. After that, Noi brought Sai a lot of chickens every night. So, she doesn't feel like going outside. Also, people in the village are surprised that they haven't seen Krause in a month. The hunters are still with Gerd, while Noi is working hard to find a way to fix it. Monk tells Noi about a plant called Krause herb. When a Krasue eats it, it starts to change into a normal person. In the hospital, Sai is taking care of a child. When Noi gets there, he gives Sai some juice. She takes it and sets it aside. Sai, that little girl, drinks the juice that was left over. That little girl is also spelled because she drank her leftover juice. She has also turned into Krause. Her parents are getting upset because she has changed into a little girl. The Krause is called a hunter. The leader of the Krause hunters calls to her while holding a dead lizard. When that little girl is caught, they kill her and cut out her heart. Ted asks his parents, when did she become Krause? As time went on, she became Krause when she got out of the hospital. Now Ted thinks Sai is Krause because she is. And she's the reason why that little girl turned into Krause. When she thinks about it, Sai feels bad for the little girl who died because of her. She doesn't want to be hurt by these Krause hunters like that little girl was. Even now, Noi is still with Sai, and Sai has asked him to go to the forest with him. Every night, Sai would dream about that house, and Sai thought that there might be an answer to this problem. Ted knows Noi and Sai are going there because he's been watching Sai. Sai and Noi reach that house in that forest, and Sai gets that Krause. When Sai eats that herb, he feels better. Both are happy because if Sai eats this herb, he will be freed from that spell. Answer: she won't be able to hunt anything. Meanwhile, Krasue hunters and Gerd also arrive there. When Gerd sees how close they are, he loses his temper and starts hitting Noi. On the other side, Sai escapes taking that herb. All the hunters are after her. Sai reaches into that house and steps close to that box. In her mind, she has a flashback. In their childhood games of hide and seek, Sai was enchanted by Krause. When she hid there, she also finds out about the terrible thing that happened to Krause. And Sai's memories are revived there. To kill Sai, all of the hunters go into the house. Sai is very angry to see them, and she becomes a Krause. She attacks them one by one and finishes their 2 members. When Gerd hears the gunfire, he goes into the house. He sees that Ted is almost going to shoot Sai. Gerd goes in front of Ted to stop him, but Ted attacks Gerd, getting angry. Gerd is hurt badly and loses his mind. A terrible storm burst out because of the presence of Krause. After some peace, Noi takes Sai away. The next day, people in the village find out that many Krause hunters have been killed. And Krause is the only one who has killed them. There are also the bodies of people from the village. When the villagers saw them, they got very angry. Then Ted gets there with Gerd, who is hurt. Ted tells his parents that Krause is the one who made him sick. When they catch up with Krause in the forest, then Krause shot and killed 2 of them. He also says this here, since Sai is really Krause. When the villagers heard it, they all decided to kill Sai. They get angry and run away. Noi's presence becomes clear as they talk, and he runs to Sai, so that he can keep her from saying everything. Sai has pain and also looks for these herbs. Because they are so close, Noi feels the same pain. At last, he, too, is awestruck. Villagers and hunters can't do this, says Sai's father. In response, they say they will burn down Sai's house and kill her. At the same time, Sai's father calls Sai outside the house. When Sai eats that herb, he doesn't turn into Krause, so he has to go outside. Ted is shocked to see her in a normal state. He says that Sai is to blame for the death of the villagers and for being Krause. On the contrary, Sai says that Ted and his friends are to blame. She says that they took her last night and tried to do something wrong with me. She says that Gerd got me out of their hands. so Ted has to escape from there. When Jerd gets to his house, he finds Ted hiding there. Ted tries to bite him. After being bitten, Jerd's name is also changed to Crane and he is called Crane. As Crane changes boys into Crane and Krause changes girls into Krause, Ted himself was Crane, so he used to take the heart out of everyone after killing them. There are a lot of different things that led to this happening. Crane is really a devil, and Krause is his wife. At one point, she fell in love with a person. Krause and the person are trying to get away, but Crane puts them in a death trap. He takes the heart out of Krause, so Crane has had a burning desire for revenge since that day. Now that Sai keeps eating that herb every night, she doesn't turn into a Krause. While Noi tries to find a cure, Jerd's health got worse, and it makes his parents nervous to see him. Ted burns all of those plants, which gets Sai back to her normal state. They can't do anything else because they only have 2 herbs left. Noi is also having trouble finding their medicine. To get out of this mess, Noi invites Sai to go to Hong Kong with him. Sai moves into Jerd's house, but it makes her sad to see him in such bad shape. I know you are Krause, Jerd says to her. When you told me I couldn't come with you at the time, I knew about it. I've seen you eat buffalo, too. It was the reason he joined the group of hunters. So that he can keep the villagers away from Sai, Jerd makes Sai promise to stay with him. When Noi is ready to escape and is waiting for Sai, all preparations have been made, then Sai is ready to leave as well. Then, Sai's father shows up. He takes her to where people from the village are. He takes Sai there to protect her and the other people in the village and to keep her from being called Krause. On the other hand, Ted irritates Jerd by telling him that Sai is running away with Noi and tricking him. He keeps making Jerd angry. He gets angry and changes into Crane. Pain also starts for Sai. The worst thing was that she no longer had any herbs. She turns into Krause all of a sudden in front of everyone. People in the village are scared and start shooting at her. Sai seems to start walking toward the forest. They decide to burn Sai's body to get rid of Krause while they are attacking. Sai's dad also tries very hard to stop them from doing it. Crane, which is made up of Ted and Jerd, also gets there at the same time. Jerd catches Krause. Noi tells him that Sai is now Krause, which is the truth, so that he won't hurt her. Then Ted tries to kill Sai by attacking her. Ted and Jerd fight over who should save Sai. On the other side, villagers beat them up and leave Sai's body badly hurt. Ted and Jerd get into a very big fight. At last, Ted rips out Jerd's heart, which makes him cry. The villagers are kept away from Sai's body by his father and Noi. Monks get there just as Ted is about to kill Sai. By killing Ted, they made him a target. Monk tells Noi to take Sai's body to the bank of a river. When he gets to the river bank with Sai's body, he does the same thing. Then Jerd's parents and some other villagers start to look for them. Noi puts Sai's body in the boat when they reach the bank of the river. At the same time, he tells Sai that everything is going to be fine. We'll take you to Bangkok, where you'll stay until you're better. As could be seen, Sai's body was badly hurt, making it hard for her soul to enter her body. When Krause, who is really a ghost spirit, sees Noi's strong love and faith, he starts to cry. It cuts the boat's anchor rope so they can get to Bangkok. On the other hand, Noi can't stop crying because it's time for them to go their separate ways. At the same time, Jerd's father shoots at Sai. Noi, Sai's great love, sees Sai die right in front of him and loses her for good. There is bad news at the end of the movie.